one family, one people, one planet, one love, one family, one people, one planet, one love.
Good morning and welcome to SoulCall Sunday. My name is Lisa Ferrero. I'm the founder and spiritual director of SoulCall Ministries. Wherever you are on the planet, we welcome you. And the theme for today is Guess Who Moved? And as you can tell, I'm in a different backdrop. We moved, and I'm sitting here socially distanced from Natalia Zuckerman. We're here live in State College, Pennsylvania, facilitating our SoulCall Sunday. But this weekend, we're part of and leaders of a retreat that we were originally scheduled to be in Geneva, Switzerland for. But State College is just fine. We're having same thing. So here we are, and we welcome you, like I said, once again. And wherever you are, I just want you to take a moment to get yourself centered and grounded. Maybe you're just getting back into the room with your cup of coffee or whatever your beverage of choice is for the mornings, and allow yourself to feel the joy in this moment. Feel the realization of your connection with Source. And the theme for the talk of Guess Who Moved came from, I was listening to somebody give a talk many, many years ago, and they said, if you don't feel close to the infinite, guess who moved? And so it's us in our consciousness and the way we think. So a really good way to practice presence and getting hold of our thoughts and our consciousness is to participate with the energy around us. And so you may have noticed the last couple months now, we've been offering an opportunity to practice Qigong, which is bringing Qi, the energy and the practice of pulling it into our bodies and having a familiar working knowledge of it. And so this morning we invite Deborah Weisenberger-Lippitz to offer us a couple minutes, maybe a 5-minute pulling in of the energy, co-creating with our physicality and the energy that's inside of us. Welcome, Deborah.
Please look forward with the eyes open, and from inside the mind's home, the center of the head, move the vision outward through Yin Tang, the third eye, through nature, into the stars, into infinite space. And from there, gather all the healing Qi, love, good wisdom, and pull it back through the stars, through nature, to the center of the head, and very gently close the eyes. With the eyes closed, it's very easy to feel the mind's home shining brightly, deeply inside. The mind's home shines into the heart center, and from there radiates outward through all the layers of the body out to merge with all of us, connecting us all as one. As one, we radiate outward in all directions to infinite space, and from there seek the warmth and light, gather all the healing Qi, love, good information, and pull it back, gently contracting inside, merging nature's Qi, human Qi, uniting, transforming, altering, healing. Now, without physical movement, allow the Qi to move without physically moving the hands up. The arms move up, and place the centers of the palm on top of the heart, merging the outside to inside and inside to outside. Now, physically, slowly move the hands up, up, placing the palms on top of the heart center. Feel this sweetness inside as the heart, this space inside the heart center opens, becoming larger. Then slowly, gently separate the hands from the heart and open the hands, allowing the heart center to open, open, open to infinite space, merging with infinite space, gathering all the healing chi, love, good wisdom, and slowly bringing it back inside the heart center. Hands on top, inside, now larger, open, open. Again, gently separate the hands from the heart and allow the heart center to open, open, letting go of heart stones, transforming, transforming, merging with infinite space, gathering all the healing chi, love, good wisdom, and pulling it back, gently contracting inside, hands on top of heart center. Then relax the hands to both sides. Gently open the eyes, smiling from the inside out with new, fresh awareness. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. That was beautiful. Feels really, really good. We're going to stay in this meditative zone. And because Natalia is right here on the other side of the screen, she's going to offer a beautiful piece of poetry, and then we're going to go into meditation. Hello. Welcome.
Good morning, everybody. This is called A Noiseless Patient Spider by Walt Whitman. A Noiseless Patient Spider by marked where on a little promontory it stood isolated, marked how to explore the vacant vast surrounding. It launched forth filament, 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 out of itself, ever unwheeling them, ever tirelessly speeding them. And you, O my soul, where you stand, surrounded, detached, in measureless oceans of space, ceaselessly musing, venturing, thrown, seeking the spheres to connect them, till the bridge you'll need be formed, till the ductile anchor hold, till the gossamer thread you fling, catch somewhere, O my soul.
Just taking that in, just the same way we gathered all of the chi and pulled it into our heart space. Allow those words, the vibration of that and this time to awaken yourselves. Just following your breath. On the inhale, you can mentally chant I am, and the exhale, you can mentally chant that I am, or reveal thyself. Give yourself the opportunity to awaken to your constant connection with beloved source. Just take a few moments. feel your feet on the ground or your bottom on a chair. Unless you're levitating by now after all this Qigong we've been doing. That's quite possible. So welcome back. And this morning, once again, if you're just joining us, the theme for the day is Guess Who Moved? And I like to think about that as we think about our connection to source. Sometimes it feels, I hear people say, sometimes it feels like the infinite is just so, so far away and I can't connect, or when I teach meditation classes, which we'll have a meditation class coming up the first of the year, again in January, that time of renewal. There'll be students who will say, it's so hard to meditate. I feel like I sit and nothing happens. And it's the consciousness that we have is what creates that idea of a barrier. There are no walls, as Rumi said. Ours is to find out which barriers we built to keep this love, this source that we're always connected with out. And there's no way to really keep it out, is the point I'm trying to make. It's whether we realize it or not. We're always dancing in it, as it, with it, co-creating with source, whether we're conscious of it or not. But the more we can awaken to the joy of that connection, the easier it gets. And it doesn't mean, when I say easier, I'm not really suggesting that it's never going to be a challenging thing. Sometimes we get presented with challenges just to show us the progress we've made or are in the process of making toward living this, I like to call it being porous in nature, allowing things to pass through us without letting them stick to us or in us. When you listen to Deborah talking about Qigong, when she referred to heart stones, those are those little pebbles of consciousness that seem like really tight and restricted. Sometimes people throw stones of consciousness at us and we accept them somehow and believe it and allow ourselves to be hurt by them. When all the time, stick with me here, when at every moment we have the consciousness to be able to see an incoming word or like a sonic punch, if you will, and just pulverize it like we would use lasers to get rid of kidney stones or something like that now. When our consciousness is so focused on the light within us and around us that we can send love to an incoming, whatever it is, you could pulverize it on the spot. It doesn't get to you. And you could just walk right through it as if you're walking through stardust. When we use our imagination to tap into realization, it's easier for us because we're filling it up with love. Daydreaming is what we were talking about last week, daydreaming in the cosmos. And allowing ourselves to play creatively with the desires of our heart. It's how we activate this force. So guess who moved? To me, it's kind of like when you're trying to fill a glass of water under a spigot. We hold the glass directly under the flow of the water. We don't keep moving it left and right and left and right, unless we're playing some kind of a game. But if we really want to fill it up, we don't move it. We hold it steady. And that's what meditation, the practice of meditation, invites us to do, is to sit still, be still and know, and to allow the universal flow to just come through us and grow out of us. So it's, again, like the symbol of the cross that precedes Christianity. They kind of cop that symbol, which is because it's powerful. We are operating on all lines at once. And from that, we create circles. We co-create consciousness with each other and with source at all times. So where do you feel, if you've moved, where do you think you are in your consciousness? And how easy is it to just flip your idea, like flipping on a light switch? It could be dark in a room for 1,000 years, and as soon as you turn the light on, the light dispels the darkness. And it could be as easy as that for us to change our mind even more than the position we're in. Sometimes just moving our thoughts from one thought to another thought, thinking a new thought. So it's like the movement of new thought is not new. It's new to you thought is what I like to call it sometimes, because sometimes you're catching that idea for the first time and it rings through you as truth. Like those bowls we were listening to in meditation. It's not really a melody there. It's more of a sonic vibration that asks us to expand. The other cool thing about meditation and the plasticity of the brain is when we meditate, there's all this scientific evidence now catching up with what the ancients knew, the rishis of India, and thousands and thousands of years these practices have been being used to help people remember that we're connected and to empower us. And the plasticity of the brain, when you sit in meditation, what happens is it stretches. It allows us to open, and ideas that don't serve us any longer can float away. I get it like slinky consciousness is kind of how I think it. When you think of, remember the game, the little toy, the slinky, just a little coiled spring, and you'd put it on a staircase and you'd start it and it would go 1, 2, 3. And sometimes the slinky would get stuck on the steps. It's like, I like to stretch them out. And if you put index cards in the slinky, maybe ideas you have that are erroneous thoughts, and if you stuck it all together, it holds them all together. But if you stretch the slinky out, all of the cards fall to the ground. Just imagine your consciousness being that, like the slinky consciousness. Stretch it out and let things fall away that no longer serve you. Sometimes, we hold on to things that are tools that got us through particular challenges. We needed to be a certain way to get through them. But recognize, like if you're a triathlete, for example, when you're finished with the cycling part, you don't carry the bicycle into the water. Which comes first anyway? Do you run first, then cycle next? How's it go? You swim, then run, then bike? Okay, so yeah. I don't know. I don't do triathletes. Triathlons, I mean. I don't do triathletes either. I don't do triathlons. But yeah, like, so when you're going to run, you don't drag the bike along. You leave it behind. That was part of the journey. And then you just pick up where you are with what is ahead, with what is being called forth. And it calls on us to practice the presence and be fully present with what is happening at the moment. And instead of not participating with what is and trying to pretend something is not happening that is right in front of you. Some of you have heard me tell this story of being present with what is. And Erika used to teach me to dive under the waves. I remember going to Kauai with her one of the first times we were there. And when I was a young kid, I used to love to body surf. And I hadn't done that in years. And I needed to refamiliarize myself with what participating with the ocean is like in that particular way. And we were walking out into the sand. And you know how when you're walking out and the big wave comes in, you just kind of lift yourself up. It hits you in the belly kind of, and then you take a few more steps and the next one comes. And I was realizing I wasn't getting very far doing that. But before I even realized that I needed to make a shift, here comes this really high, slow rolling wave that's beginning to crest. And I hear Erika from behind me, I'm ready to do the same thing. And she says, no, love, that's not gonna, boom. I got crashed backwards and I got rolled up onto the shore, all full of sand and water and all this other stuff. And she said, no, what you need to learn how to do is go out further than you ever thought you could go. But you do that by diving into or under the wave, participating with what is. And when we try to avoid it or just play lightly with it, you're going to get knocked over. I got crushed like that. But I went further out to get past where that wave I would have liked to have been riding in instead of it rolling me in. And I got to have a lot more fun when you can look at things head on, knowing that you've got within you all you're ever going to need to get through, under, participate with what is coming. But it's a continual practice, and it's that practicing the presence of the infinite in meditation. Meditation is an easy way. Sometimes we meditate. We have walking meditations, guiding meditations. Sometimes running will get you in the zone. But sometimes just being completely still, even if it's for 5 minutes. Yesterday morning, Natalia and I were getting ready to launch the whole Geneva conference of which we're participating. And it was a rather busy morning, just getting everything together. And we just stopped. We did find 5 minutes because that 5 minutes helped us get through the next 5 hours with poise and clarity. So it doesn't take the length of time, but sometimes it's just stop everything and at once be with it. Rumi would say, when you recognize that your body is a reed flute and you, my soul, are the melody. Just allow that beautiful melody to come through. And know where you are in that consciousness. Right now, during this global pandemic, there's a lot of things happening in the United States right now and around the world for sure. But just following up with some of the latest of the news of the people who are catching COVID and how easily we can stop the transmission of it with a mask. How do you participate with that kind of consciousness where we're on both sides of it? Instead of taking sides, take stock in self and take care, but it creates some tension sometimes. But recognizing that we always have within us the power to, energize ourselves to the point where we won't catch these kinds of things, but take necessary precautions. Keep your energy up. Meditation just for 5 minutes can help us grow ourselves back out from the inside. And taking a stand for yourself. There are a lot of things now coming into play, as politics will have us do. The issues can divide us if we don't learn and to remember. I was born in the city of bridges, so my first thing is to always try to find that middle ground where we can meet in the middle of the bridge between this and that. Then we can have a conversation as we view the same thing to see how we can grow an idea, finding that third way. But first we need to know who we are and what we believe in. And just taking a stand for peace, taking a stand for joy allows us to expand with ease and grace into that total force of love and joy. So I invite you wherever you are this week. I thank you for tuning in with us. And we are so thrilled because we've got, starting now, commit to yourself to allow yourself even 5 minutes of a practice of stillness, to get caught up in yourself and to never ask again, guess who moved? It's always us who moves, our consciousness. But like flipping on a switch, flip it back on. If it seems like it just shut off for some reason, turn it back on for yourself and allow yourself to know and grow that you are always guided by divine source. And it's you who says so. That's the kind of free choice and free will we have. So get caught up in that. And I'm so excited that our musical inspiration for this week is Toad the Wet Sprocket. It's a brand new video called Starting Now. And Antia Duvakat is the one that did the, what do you call it, Anime? Stop motion. Oh my gosh. Enjoy this, starting now, and let it anchor in to invigorate you to start now and stay now, staying fully present in the moment of who your beautiful soul came here to be.
Wasted years won't waste another instant. I fed my fears, things that haven't been yet. Hope don't mean you sit there just waiting for the changes. It's fighting for the long shot, getting in the trenches, starting now. Starting now. All I own is borrowed from my children. I'll leave this world more bright than when it came in. So starting with the next breath, I'll dig a little deeper. now.
Talk about being present in the moment. That stop motion takes weeks of probably 20-hour days. I'm just so inspired by that. And the song is fantastic. Toad the Wet Sprocket and Antia Duvakat. So happy to have them with us this morning on SoulCall Sunday. Now I'd like to bring Natalia Zuckerman back. Some of you are receiving our newsletter, and we appreciate that. You can sign up for the newsletter at soulcallministries.org and just go and get the newsletter. We have really fantastic articles, information, and one of my favorite segments is making the invisible visible. Welcome back, Natalia.
Thank you.
And it's an experience in art. And tell us what the inspiration for making the invisible visible is. You're the curator of it.
The magic of a song like that and a video to go with it, to make this feeling of beginning and gathering together. How do you create that in a visual way? And music is such an immediate way that we experience that. I mean, we always get to play a song from our heart in our newsletter too, and to have something visual, the way that you, the beyond the reason and all the cards dropping out. What is that? What does that look like? To have artists highlighted that know how to do that, how to explain the ineffable.
Yeah. And I know part of the inspiration for it too is those artists that we don't get to see because mainstream art is, there's so many who you know and who you know and who you know, and that's those we don't know that are amazing. We find out 100 years later. So what I love about the way you're curating is these are people on the planet now that we could be supporting their art that inspires us to follow our soul's calling. Tell us a little more about that passion of yours.
Yeah, I just love visual art as a visual artist myself and a human being. I just am always so inspired. And so to be able to bring some of the folks that have really informed me and deepened my understanding of what's beyond word and understanding. And, for example, this week we have Queen Brooks, who's one of your local Columbus, Ohio artists. She just won a really prestigious award. So wonderful Helen Yee brought her to my attention. And please do, if you have an artist that you want to see highlighted, please send an email to Natalia at SoulCallMinistries.org.
And that's Natalia, not Natalie. Natalia at SoulCallMinistries.org.
But, to talk about artists such as Helma af Klint, who truly is the grandmother of modern art, and Kandinsky saw what she was doing and then wrote his very famous treatise, and because he was a man, he had more visibility at the time, and took a lot of credit for actually what was not his. And we've learned about her exactly 100 years later. And so artists and her ability actually to explain what was beyond, and the fact that she actually spent her lifetime studying science and photorealistically documenting the visual world and then knowing there's something else and finding visual language to describe that. So folks like her and Kehinde Wiley, who's the portrait artist who very famously painted the portrait of Obama with that incredible lush background, and he takes African American people and paints them in these classical portraiture styles. So folks that have been left out of that, of the canon of art history. So that's making the invisible visible too for us. So that's what we invite you to bring to our attention if we don't already know about it.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us this morning in front of the camera instead of just behind the scenes every week. And thank you for what you do production-wise. And we thank all of you who are sending your donations to support SoulCall Ministries. We appreciate it. No amount is too large or too small. And it's soulcallministries.org/donate. We are taking up collections right now, trying to stock up the food banks as we move into the winter months. For those who, I heard a statistic on a credible news source the other day that if you just walk down the street you live on, every sixth house is experiencing hunger. Not just in that neighborhood over there. They're saying your neighborhood, because of the way things have shifted with COVID. This global pandemic is affecting people in your neighborhood, wherever you're watching from. Every sixth house. If you take the dog for a walk and you start to let that sink in, SoulCall, we're finding who those people are, or how we can direct our services that way. And we're doing a bunch of other things too. So we appreciate your donations. We're working with foster children and women's shelters, and bringing meditation practices in, and just helping people to transform their lives. So your donations enable us to make those programs available where funding has been cut. And SoulCall Ministries has been around since 1999. So you can find out more about us on our website, soulcallministries.org. We've got an exciting class coming up, learning how to participate with Source, the way the Hickses do, Abraham Hicks, and the Vortex. That class starts October 19th. More about that class. And another fun workshop with Dr. Barry Bates on Halloween, which is also another full moon too this month, on science and the afterlife. So those are both available. More information on the website. If you're in need of prayer, and many of us are, I use my prayer team. I call out to them. I'll say I use them. I ask them for prayers for me to do my job better and to help me. We can co-create consciousness. And those imaginal cells, like we were talking last week, if each one of you is an imaginal cell, finding your community, we each hold that blueprint to change the caterpillar into the butterfly. So helping us to maintain our butterfly consciousness and the ability to rise above our challenges, please reach out to our prayer team. Prayers at soulcallministries.org. Prayers with an S at soulcallministries.org. And allow yourself to partake of this vibration of oneness and peace. There's so much more information on the website. Sign up for our newsletter, please. Like us and share us with your friends on Facebook. It means a whole lot to us to get this message spread far and wide. So like us, look for some of our content. We send out little beautiful inspirations. And if you like them, and comment on them and share them. And also find us on YouTube at SoulCall, one word, SoulCall Ministries, on our YouTube channel. And we ask you to subscribe, because every once in a while we send something to our subscribers on YouTube, a little special video or inspiration, just for becoming a subscriber and a supporter. So we wish you well this week. SoulCall Sunday next week is with Reverend Christy Hardwick. And this week with Wake Up with the Consciousness Cafe, our very own Asia is interviewing her friend Connor and taking us to look at some very fun aquariums and talking a little bit about his creativity and how it works through him. And so Wake Up with the Consciousness Cafe Wednesday, 7 a.m. We wish you well this week. Please be safe, be smart, be aware, be loving, and know mostly that wherever you are, and no matter what happens and what's going on with you, you are loved. Peace and blessings.